Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me for this prayerful pause with the pastor. Cleo the cat is just off screen, so you may see her ear or head or tail on occasion. We just welcome all people and four-leggeds to our prayerful pause with the pastor. Today is going to be third in an episodic, irregularly scheduled series on this book, White Privilege Pop Quiz. And if you've seen the other two, then you know this is written by Molly Secours, and she is a white writer who grew up in upstate New York, up by the Canadian border. I think she now lives maybe in Pittsburgh. I'm not positive about that. But this is a very open, non-judgmental way to get those of us with beautiful beige skin, like I have, who look like me, or only better, to think about what privilege we have without even thinking about it, to kind of raise our consciousness. And there are no wrong answers here. They're just clarifying questions. This one from chapter 7, although this is our third in the continuing series, begins with a quote by Harry Styles. I do things every day without fear because I am privileged. And I am privileged every day because I am white. Being not racist is not enough. We must be anti-racist. Social change is enacted when a society mobilizes. I stand in solidarity with all of those protesting. I'm donating to help post bail for arrested organizers. Look inwards. Educate yourself and others. So with that as the preface, here's the question for us to think about today. How often are you the only person, or one of few, of your identified race in daily activities? How often are you the only person or one of few of your identified race in daily activities, including church, school, bars, and nightclubs? Always? Frequently? Seldom? Or never? What are those circumstances? And does your behavior change when you are no longer in those environments? Is this by happenstance, or do you consciously seek out situations where you are a minority? I first became aware of this in a large way when I started seminary in 1987, and we were required, all of us, entering students, during that first year to attend Black church worship. And I went to Enon Baptist Missionary Church here in Rochester. And the service itself was eye-opening. I learned a lot. I hope a lot of it I have incorporated into my ministry over the years. But it was also different to be one of however many there were from the class attending that day, 3, 4, 5 white people in a predominantly Black church setting. It was really different. And I'd not experienced anything like that, I don't think, ever in my life. Later on, I did experience something similar. I remember at my sister's funeral. Now that would have been 1995. And she lived and died, and her funeral was in Canal, Winchester, Ohio, which is a suburb of Columbus. And there were, if there were any, there might have been maybe 2 or 4 Black people out of 100. A lot of people at her funeral. And I was just struck by that time, because I had become so accustomed to living in a multiracial city. I was really struck by how uncomfortable I was there, not having more homogeneity more color, more diversity in that setting. Of course, now, being the mother of adult children of color and seeing the world differently, I often find myself where I'm either in the minority or it's closer to a 50-50 match, or when it's not, at least I can be aware of it and call it to other people's attention. And I can seek it out if I choose. If you are a person with skin colored like mine, do you ever watch BET, Black Entertainment Network Television? Do you ever watch that? Do you ever go out of your way to look at artwork or read articles by people of color? If not, why not? Aren't we supposed to broaden our horizons always and learn more? Just a thought. So what I'm hoping today's message and prayerful pause is about, to stop and think about where you are in the color spectrum, where you are in terms of privilege. And it may not be skin color privilege. It might be educational privilege. It might be economic privilege. It might be a combination of those. It could be anything else that you take for granted that you realize other people would not. It's a good thing to think about, especially on a beautiful summer's day. And what else are you going to think about, right? Thanks for joining me for this prayerful pause of the pastor, a few moments to think of something greater than ourselves. In this case, the privileges that we possess, and that if we possess them, we need to become more aware of. Because if we are not aware of them, we're likely to use them against someone without even being aware of that. When we have privilege, it's easy to assume that everyone does, and that in itself becomes a form of oppression for the other people. Because then they not only have to deal with our assumption, but they have to figure out how to respond in, quote, an appropriate way. We don't want that. Jesus calls us all to be one in the Spirit. There's no longer Jew nor Greek. There's no longer slave nor free. No longer black or white. We are all one. And we can only do that if we understand what each one of us brings to the table, the gifts and the deficits. Invitation for the day. Thanks for joining me. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York. We'll see you next time, and until then, God bless, take care, and bye for now.